All Elite Wrestling. WWE last week got all of the press and everything that we could handle with the sale from Endeavor and obviously WrestleMania itself. But AEW, they've been trying to keep pretty busy as well. And last week they announced that they will be going to London this summer, just like WWE, except for they're not running the O2 Arena. They're running Wembley Stadium, home of 1992 SummerSlam. We don't know exactly yet what the idea of success at Wembley Stadium looks like. Obviously, there's been all that talk since. But then more recently in AEW, the return of Jeff Hardy to our television airwaves this past week since his, I guess, departure from AEW for a little while.
Yeah, he had to clean up some things. He had to get himself back on track, which I don't know if you saw. Matt Hardy did put out a nice thing on social media, just stating that he's proud of his brother making the steps. And you know what? I was caught off guard. I wasn't expecting Jeff Hardy to be there last night. It could have been next week. I wouldn't have been expecting him next week either. It was just unexpected. It's not the timing. It's him in general, just being back in the world of wrestling. I wasn't expecting it. I mean, I guess when I was watching the whole segment where Matt was getting attacked and whatnot, that whole segment there with Ethan Page, I was like, okay, so who else do they have? And then, here comes Jeff, and Jeff's got this cool looking chair he brings to the ring. I'm like, all right, I guess
it looks like some custom artwork on his chair, but
I'm guessing he did it himself.
I'll be honest with you though, and this is why we kind of talk, why AEW. It's the kind of the focus on Tony Khan and the world of AEW. Is I feel like Jeff Hardy coming back to AEW is not as feel good as that would be. I think it kind of has like a little bit of irresponsibility to it. I mean, listen, I understand everybody, deserves forgiveness and, can change and all of that stuff. But Jeff Hardy has slipped up many times. And you wonder if this was, hey, he's back and he's ready to go and, we've forgiven him. Or if this was Tony Khan being like, hey, we want to we got Jeff Hardy. I guess what I'm trying to get at is, does WWE, they do what's best for business, but I feel even at some points, I think about it. Let me put this in the best perspective. I think about this similar to Kurt Angle in Impact Wrestling in the mid 2000s when he left WWE and WWE was like, hey, we can't deal with you right now. You need to go get some help. And Kurt Angle was like, I'm not going to go get some help. And they're like, well, then you got to go. So he left and immediately showed up in Impact Wrestling. Not because he went and got help, but because Impact Wrestling's like, we'll take it. Kurt Angle, WWE, yeah, we'll take it. And I'm not saying that is the case with Jeff Hardy, but I'm saying that Jeff Hardy just has so much bad past and so many times he has slipped up and so many times he has been, getting that retribution that you wonder if indeed he is ready to go or if this was just Tony Khan being like, hey, after that move last week from WWE and the big sale and WrestleMania, we need some big splashes. We need to get some eyeballs out here. I don't care if you're ready to go. We need Jeff Hardy back. We're talking off air, and this is another thing we'll mention on the show. CM Punk apparently rumored to be talking with AEW about getting back in the ring. And I feel like we're just at a point now with AEW, and I don't know this for true, but it just seems like, are they doing it because these people are the best of themselves? This is the best Jeff Hardy that we can get, and this Jeff Hardy is ready to go? Or are they doing it because it's best for AEW business? I feel like when AEW first started, it was all about the talent. And now I feel like, hey, if we can get a WWE guy on the discount, we're taking him.
No, I don't think that's it. I think, for me, it seems like Tony Khan really does, whatever the internet wrestling community wants to, say about Tony Khan, there's, that's neither here nor there, but the facts are, and I'm looking at it right here. So, he obviously the incident happened in June of 2022. So it's been 10 months.
Yes.
And as of February of this year, he already served his 38-day jail sentence that he's got 2 years probation. He's paid $4,500 in court fees. And he also has a 10-year suspension of his license, which means he can't drive a car for 10 years. And 2 years with an interlock device, and then a 90-day vehicle impoundment. So he had to do a court-mandated school or DUI program and community service. So what I'm trying to say is, Tony Khan, after Hardy, obviously, Jeff Hardy's obviously done everything he's had to do per the courts. Everything's been adjudicated. Tony Khan probably said, okay, you know what? This is, I'm giving you, this is probably saying, this is your last shot with us. But
is he even saying that this is your last shot?
I think it is.
I feel like he's had a lot of last shots.
This whole thing was bad. But Tony Khan, this is the first time he's really done it under the Tony Khan AEW umbrella. So I know he's had all the issues he's had in the past. We know that. We could do a whole episode on Jeff Hardy's issues. But the fact of the matter is, Tony Khan is willing to give him a shot. And I bet you Tony Khan and Matt Hardy had a conversation. I bet Matt Hardy was like, I will keep him under my wing when he is here, when we're on the road. I will do what I need to do. And here's the thing. He can't drive for 10 years. His license is suspended. So how is he getting to where he is? It's Jeff Hardy is going to be with his brother, I believe, and Matt Hardy.
True.
And Matt Hardy is going to take him
unless he does driving without the license, obviously.
Well, I don't think he would do that. I don't.
Well, why would you think he wouldn't do that? Like, I don't mean to speak ill of Jeff Hardy.
But why would he do it?
Why would he have done any of the things he does?
He's got his brother is literally going to be, and I hate to say this because he's a grown adult. He's he's a 40 some odd year old gentleman. He's in his mid 40s now. He has his brother, his older brother, that's going to be watching his back. So at this point, if he frigs up again, and I know we've said this before, he's done it multiple times, this and that. Obviously, he has issues. But if he can stay, under the babysitting portion with his brother, I think that
I get these are all good intentions and stuff like that. And listen, I'm not letting the Usos off the hook either because they're obviously in WWE and they're not to the same extent as Jeff Hardy. But I guess my question is in general, right? Because this isn't we mess up and he got fired from WWE and AEW picked him up and that, he fixed it. This is like a career length. We're talking going into the mid 2000s, single digits, multiple arrests, Impact Wrestling, coming to the ring drunk in TNA.
Here's another
part
WWE,
to it. All of this
Here,
stuff.
I'm going to reach another part to it. So Tony Khan even said that, this is going back to June 14th of last year. He says, Hardy has been suspended indefinitely without pay, but he would be invited back on the condition he would complete all of, his treatment and maintain sobriety and let the courts essentially do everything that they're doing.
I posed then
So he checked all those boxes. That's why he's back.
So the question I posed to you is for WWE or AEW or any wrestling company, when is there a point where you just say, listen, I understand that you're only 45 years old, you're still can compete, whether it's Jeff Hardy or anybody, but when do you say, there's a lot of people every day that are being pumped out that are professional wrestlers. You had your chance. Enough's enough.
I think WWE, I think that ship sailed. I don't think he ever goes back to WWE again. I just don't see it. I think he's done. I think with AEW, this was his first and only strike that he's got. I know
WWE's definitely brought people back, but I just feel like
but I don't think he has another run in WWE. I just don't.
I
don't think the
feel
Hardys
like
do.
Whether it's this or anything, that there just has to be a point.
This is it for him.
This
is it for him on television.
I mean, I feel like we've said that on a podcast before.
But I'm telling you, because it was under the Tony Khan umbrella, where this is the first, he had that first, and obviously it was a horrible thing.
So Tony Khan's just supposed to pretend like his slate is clean once he signs there. So like if I have 5 DWIs in the state of New York, once I move to Ohio, I'm starting fresh here. So that's just one in Ohio.
And yes, you are starting fresh because Tony Khan was not his boss. So what he did before he was with Tony Khan, yes, was it all bad? Obviously, he broke laws. He did things he wasn't supposed to do. But guess what? Tony Khan was not his boss. So Tony Khan, in a sense, I'm not putting words in Tony Khan's mouth, but he could essentially turn a blind eye and say, these things happened before you and I did business together. So guess what? Like you've had one screw up in the time you've been with AEW. This is it. The other stuff doesn't count in the past because it was under Tony Khan's management as his boss, and Tony Khan pretty much said he already came out and said I read what he was.
No, I get it, but
he's got one. This is it. If he screws up again, he's done, and he won't be on TV ever again. You'll see him doing. You'll see him doing. If you want to see him at your local VFW near you, if he screws up again, that's where it goes. Will he be wrestling after he gets, potentially gets booted? Yes, they all do. All these guys, they go to these, Northeast Wrestlings of the world. So you'll see him at a local, Auburn High School, for example, because that's where I saw Matt Hardy before he came back all these years later. That's where he could be. But I think if he can keep himself on the straight and narrow, which I know is a tough thing to ask for a Jeff Hardy, that he's in AEW. This is it. He's not going
Did
to
he
WWE.
even have a driver's license when he got pulled over the last time?
I believe if he did, he probably had a conditional.
I think he was driving on a suspended license when he got pulled over.
But
the
I believe it was conditional, and I bet you with conditional, every state's different. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not, but with
I
conditional
just feel
license, there's conditions.
it'd be very irresponsible of Tony Khan to essentially wipe the slate clean of somebody because, you know, like they'd be like, hey, Harvey Weinstein, I know all the stuff you did under Miramax, but now you work for Warner Brothers.
Okay, that's different. Harvey Weinstein's a piece of crap.
Well, I get that it's different, but I'm saying
it's very different. That's to me that's
it's not different in the sense of they have a past and you have to like
drugs, abuse. That's different.
Drug abuse.
Okay, good. Well played. No, but drugs. Yes, drugs are obviously bad. That's why they had the dare and all that.
And that brings up a great point though, because
that's
drug
not a great
abuse
point.
is often more considered like a disease and something that isn't exactly something that is fixable.
You can't compare him though. You can't compare Jeff Hardy to Harvey Weinstein. Don't put that in the same breath.
I'm comparing that you can't just look at that somebody did these things in another company, so they're fresh here, and then once they've done them here. If I show up late to my job and get fired from a job, and then I apply to the same job in a different state or a different county or whatever, they're going to look at that and they're going to be like, listen, you showed up late 100 times that other place we told, so you're not going to get to show up late here at all. Not like, oh, you start at 0 here, we'll fire you at 100 here as well. They're not going to let it get up to 99 at the new state.
People are willing to get, and companies like Tony Khan are at his discretion, because he is the owner, he is willing to give people like Jeff Hardy, and in this case, under AEW and Tony Khan, a second chance.
Is it for Jeff Hardy or is it for the benefit of AEW?
It's both. Because I hate to say this like this, but Jeff Hardy needs to stay working. He does, because with his problems, the worst thing that he could have is downtime. And I hate saying that, but that's just what it is. Like anytime he has downtime, unfortunately, these things seem to happen. So, you don't want to work somebody to till they're in the ground, so to speak. But Jeff Hardy, unfortunately, he has a habit that's hard to kick. The best way for him to kick that, at least, hopefully he maintains it forever.
I guess I look at it similar to like Ric Flair. Ric Flair, I think he's told WWE and other companies that, hey, I'm not done yet. I'm willing to do something. And the companies have to kind of pull in the reins themselves and be like, no, Rick, sorry. Like, we love you, but you're not coming back here.
Except for his son-in-law. I mean, Conrad.
Well, I mean, somebody's going to use Ric Flair to some extent, but like some company, like a WWE of the world, has to be like, hey, listen, I understand that that's what you want to do, but yeah,
WWE has done that because they've done it with guys like Sting. Sting has had a second life in wrestling again, because in AEW, and he even said it, and we're just tying it all in because this is all, we're talking AEW. He, pretty much WWE said, yeah, you're disqualified essentially medically from, doing anything. And Tony Khan says, oh no, we can use you in a different way. You're not going to take the spots that you used to do back in your prime WCW days, but we can use you as kind of a, I guess like a big brother, so to speak, and with a Darby Allin. He looks, and Darby Allin said it on AEW this week that he looks, that's like his best friend in the locker room. What a great mentor to have than Sting. So Sting is a mentor at this point, and he also said it. He even said to MJF, he's like. And obviously the fans aren't going to like it, because how many times do you want to hear your heroes back in the day say, yeah, I'm not really going to do championships anymore. That's hard to hear. And Ric Flair, the same thing. But WWE is at this point, and they've established this trend where they're not afraid to cut ties. AEW, but this is the reason. WWE's been around a hell of a lot longer than AEW. There's not much of a track record to go off of, because this is the first time they've ever done it under the AEW and Tony Khan umbrella. So we don't know what precedent this is going to be. We don't know. And then here's the thing. What's going to happen in the next 5 years with AEW? Could there be other incidents where they have to go to the Jeff Hardy track record and say, okay, Tony, back in 2022, you did this for Jeff Hardy, so are you and then so-and-so had the same issues, you're giving them the second chance, right? And we'll see where it plays out from there, because unfortunately in this realm, in professional sports and sports entertainment, there's going to be issues. People are going to have issues. That's just not everybody, even though they're on TV and they may look like they're doing great things and which they put on a good front, we don't know what their demons are behind the scenes. You just don't know. Everybody has a story that you're not hearing about. So these things are probably going to happen in AEW, and I hate saying that, but it's going to happen again to some extent. And how Tony Khan handles it, that's the precedent. So he's already set the precedent where he came out and said, all right, Jeff, you're indefinitely suspended, but if you do X, Y, and Z, we will welcome you back with open arms, and we'll give you a second chance. So I think Tony Khan, this is the first time for him in this business. We
will see if Jeff Hardy gets to go to Wembley Stadium in London to see if that's an option for him.